Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is going to be the week of getting announcements from DC. We are going to get the solicitations for March here toward the end of the week. So all the cards have to be on the table by then of what we have coming out in March. So the big elephants in the room remain Justice League and Superman family of titles. What will they look like? But we had a couple today, including some news over in the Bat universe. We have, and I feel like the second I was putting off putting out this video because it feels like we're getting 3 announcements today. We've gotten 2, but we got to move on in life. So let's get these 2 out. So number 1, on the simpler side, Catwoman. So Catwoman is returning to its current volume, current numbering after Future State, and it's returning with writer Ram V and artist Fernando Blanco, who is the creative team before we went on to, we basically got interrupted for Future State. So basically nothing really different there. It's being promised that Selena Kyle is going to be crossing paths with the Riddler, and that he's going to be a character that is, at least playing some role in that book. Catwoman number 29 is due out March 17th. And this is, if you're counting at home, this is the 3rd series we have from Ram V. We got Swamp Thing, we have Justice League Dark, we now have Catwoman. It's always a good plan to get, one writer and get them onto multiple books. Always a great idea. So for sure, definitely keep doing that. Nothing could possibly go wrong. This is sarcasm, by the way. So I know it feels like we struggled a little bit recently with, my sarcasm is too dry or something, but so I'll start putting the disclaimer. I think Ram V has a lot of strong potential as a creator, as a writer, and I want to see Ram V successful. 3 books is I don't think it's doing that. I think that is almost steering towards some level of disaster, but why not? Let's see how that all goes. Sure. The slightly, I would say, bigger news. I don't know if this is bigger news or not, but we're getting a brand new Batman book, and this is one of the first new books as part of this March world of comics. And this one is interesting because it's using a lot of the format of what we're seeing with Future State, with a couple twists. So it's called Batman Urban Legends, and it is a book intended to flesh out more of the Bat family. And it's going to feature Batman and Grifter and the Outsiders and Harley Quinn and Red Hood and so on. And it's really intending to put some bigger name creators on these books. It's going to be 64 pages, and it's going to be monthly, which means that this Batman Urban Legends anthology is almost guaranteed to be, I don't know, if we're really lucky, $7.99, but more likely we're looking at, I don't know, maybe it's going to be somewhere in the $7.99 to $9.99 for this title. And it will be, like I say, it will be monthly, and it will be kind of an anthology series. So the idea is that you're going to see a couple stories. You're going to see stories play out. And the first one that was announced is somebody who is more on the Marvel side of the world, Chip Zdarsky, who is writing something for Future State, and artist Eddy Barrows will be writing a Batman Red Hood story that finds Jason Todd investigating a new lethal drug that's sweeping Gotham City. And this investigation will change his life forever and put him in Batman's crosshairs. So some conflict there. And then in addition to that, I think in this issue, we'll get a title by, again, somebody who's been more recently attached to Marvel. Matt Rosenberg with Ryan Benjamin are doing a Grifter story in this series. So to be clear, again, we have a Batman Urban Legends. It's going to have multiple stories in each issue. The first one by Chip Zdarsky is 6 parts. The second one does not have anything listed in terms of how many parts it will be. Maybe they'll all be 6. Who knows? But Matt Rosenberg doing Grifter. And in this case, Grifter is being drawn by Ryan Benjamin, who has drawn Grifter many times before. So it is a familiar face to Grifter. And then we get there's 4 stories in this first Urban Legends book. The third one is Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, which will be done by the Future State Batman, the next Batman artist, Laura Braga. And this will basically be Harley Quinn trying to seek out Poison Ivy to sort out their relationship. If you've been reading a Batman by James Tynion, you might remember that, or you might have noticed that Harley Quinn drugged Batman into Poison Ivy's sanctuary. It got torched by clowns and bad things. Poison Ivy was angry about this. And so it seems like it's an attempt to kind of sort out that relationship and kind of figure out what their history is. A number of sites are already jumping to the conclusion that this is going to define the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy gay relationship between the two. But I think there's nothing in the solicitation that suggests that, but who knows what will happen. It's all good. So finally, the last story is the first in a 3-part Outsider story. So this does answer one question. This Batman Urban Legends is the stories are going to run at different lengths. So whereas the Chip Zdarsky is going to run for 6 parts, the Outsiders will run for 3 parts. And in this Outsiders story, it will have, this is writer Brandon Thomas with Max Dunbar stepping in art. That is the team that is doing the Outsiders in Future State. So a lot of Future State writers and artist teams kind of coming into this. But the Outsider story is going to feature Black Lightning, Katana, Metamorpho, and they're going to, basically team up as a grim figure from Katana's past, shows up to cause some trouble. So, Batman Urban Legends, it will be on sale March 16th, and it will be, like I said, 64 pages. We don't have a price. I guess we'll learn that in a couple days, but it does feel like it's going to be, I would just be surprised if it's under, it will not be under $7.99, but maybe higher. They did now, for Future State, they absolutely did do some of these. In fact, many of the comics have multiple stories going on. I think the biggest is 3. And you're typically getting a main story and then kind of 2 backup stories. And the backup stories, from what I've heard, will be somewhere in like the 6-page range or so, kind of in that general ballpark. And it is, they were testing this higher price point. So they must have at least gotten some of the numbers they wanted or expected, because this is that product being carried forward into the new DC with March. So, anthologies, sure. I mean, if you keep the quality up, it's good. Typically, though, what we see happen from Marvel and DC is that it's, these anthologies start out well-meaning with some good, strong creative talent. And then, relatively quickly within the first 10 issues, that creative talent is put on other books to boost the sales. And the anthology is now, relegated to cheaper talent or talent that are kind of trying out to come into the DC universe. So, we don't have any creative teams beyond those 4 stories. We get a Batman Red Hood. We get Grifter, which is firmly being established in the Batman universe at this point. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and then the Outsiders. And the other, I think, thing that is not mentioned in this release, but is you can kind of put 2 and 2 together, is that if there's a strong critical response to either a creator, writer, artist, or a character, that then it's providing them a vehicle to spin it off into their own series, and you get that, because you demanded it, we're giving you a new Outsiders ongoing, and it's a way to kind of play in that world. I would expect at least 1 more of these anthology books, and I'd expect it either in the Justice League side of the world or the Superman side of the world. I would expect another one. I'd be shocked if there wasn't. And in fact, if they do reasonably well during the January and February Future State months, and if this Gotham, it makes sense. If you're going to lead with anything, you lead with Batman, of course. So if Batman Urban Legends does reasonably well, I think you'll see more and more of this coming out of DC as they try and just get more characters, more IP, more ideas out onto the page to test the waters for things they want to take to the movies without committing to a brand new, a full-blown comic where some of these characters would struggle to carry a comic. But if you think about Wonder Woman, for example, and just kind of what's going on, we already have Becky Cloonan on that book, but you've got Nubia around there. You've got, Yara Flor, who has her own title. We have, Cassie from previously existing Wonder Girl. You have Donna Troy. So you have at least 5 Wonder Women kind of running around, and so it really feels like these kinds of anthology books. I don't see how they don't do more of it. So I would expect at least 1, maybe 2 more announcements of additional anthology books coming either into March or immediately after March. And I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a new format for DC. But what do you think? Are you excited by any of these books? Is this what you want to see? Is this the comic that you want out of DC. Would you be buying Catwoman and that team? Are you going to buy this Batman Urban Legends? Is it too much, Batman? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Most importantly, and as always, thanks for listening.